Happy Thursday, Eric.
Welcome to Rubber Duck Engineering. Tonight, we're going to be playing with unit testing in Unity. Say that 12 times fast. Which
Unity
neither of us have any
testing
idea how to do.
You what?
Unity testing. Unity. I've been on a Unity kick ever since we did our Godot bit, and then I told you how I felt bad that we weren't doing Godot or Unity episodes because I just didn't know the tools, and I went off and played with Godot for a week. And then I couldn't take it anymore, and I switched back to Unity, which is maybe a whole another episode. And now I've been playing with Unity a bunch and really enjoying it. But
I couldn't help notice that your project was named Towers 5.
Yeah, it is my 5th attempt. Yeah.
And a MOBA, right? One of these. What does MOBA stand for?
Yeah, maybe I missed a couple steps. So MOBA is hi Abbas. MOBA is a multiplayer online battle arena, I think. It's like a genre of games. I used to play them 5+ years ago, something like that. Hey, maybe Hal.
Right. Thanks for joining us.
And then I rage quit because, as far as I can tell, they're all terribly toxic. And I haven't touched them a very long time, but I still like the concept. Anyway, so I've been futzing around with some of the concepts of these things in first Godot and now Unity. And one of the concepts we talked about before is emergent behavior, that they have these little autonomous drone things, and they fight.
Except they're not fighting at the moment.
Correct. So we could get to why this is the 5th attempt. But in my current 5th attempt, which I made some good progress on, I made the little drone things fight, and I made them smart. And then I made a second one. So one was like a melee fighter, and one was like a ranged fighter. And then somewhere, because I hadn't been git committing very often, somewhere in my relatively large change, I broke it all.
Hence, I mean, when I get to that point in a project, that's a good signal to me. It's like, okay, now it's time to start the testing train, and hence the motivation for this episode.
Correct. And now we've caught the viewers up. But
do you want to give us a demo? Can we see what you've done so far?
Assuming that Unity has actually loaded the thing, we waited for a while in the green room.
It was causing amazing jank on Eric's video feed, so we were going to do the jank dance while Unity was opening up. But looks like Unity has succeeded at opening the project.
All right, so this is a heavily modified demo example thing from Unity called Boss Room, which is where they're demoing this in-progress networking layer called network game objects or something. Anyways, the game was quite pretty until I tore it apart. But mostly and part of the reason why I got to 5 attempts at this was I tried writing from scratch, looking at how this example did it, and then I tried tearing down the example, and I went through that iteration a few times. Wow, this is really low resolution. Anyways, the game is so not layered. It's all tied into itself, so it's really hard to detangle what's all going on. But so the interesting bits that we just went through is that it started up a little server in the background, and now we're picking our person, because this is like a co-op multiplayer game as it's written in the example. And then, as I said, I tore apart the whole game. So we're now just on this flat plane where we're getting zapped. And I turned off the minions spawning, so it now currently only spawns one of each type. And then you're going to see the bug here, as these minions, which are presumably chasing me, these ones just walk by them. Like, yo, dudes. And then eventually they'll figure out, oh, yeah, okay, maybe we should fight. But what happens...
It's sort of a battle arena. It's a walk past each other, and then remember that we're supposed to fight arena.
And so if you let it run for a while, so this one is going to go to the end waypoint. Remember, this is the enemy minion. I haven't given them colors as I probably should do. They're all just the same model. But I've turned down the spawning way down, so it only spawns once every minute or something. But when the next round spawns, it'll just walk right past.
The jank dance, I think we're not very much dancers. It was sort of our usual sway back and forth to some kind of rhythm kind of dance. But it was amusing when his video was pausing.
We were taking advantage of the fact that my video was running at about 2 frames a second while Unity was trying to load. So here we go. Oh, and now this one sees it for some reason. And that one sees it too. There's another bug where the particles, because I had the game as it was built had the player characters and the end player and the non-player characters as the like two teams, but that's not how MOBAs work. Like you have all these non-player characters that are on your team, and so I had to like teach the system the concept of team, but I probably only taught half of it, and so that
that unit actually died.
Oh yeah, and we'll see if these ones, when they get down there, if they like actually know how to fight the other ones, or if they just walk past these ones. And again, I just don't know what could be going on. And this again gets to like we're testing. And I tried logging.
Yeah, but obviously if you wanted to like solve this specific problem, you could debug it, right? But like I think the idea is, in general, this is a sign that the project has gotten to the point where you don't want to be debugging every time you break something, and so you want to have testing to keep things working.
Yeah. And I can show you the file. Let's see. Whoa, it zoomed out there. If we do, it's in the server directory, game, AI state, AIStateEdgarList. So this is like one of the files that I wrote that deals with like maintaining the aggro list.
So what is an aggro list for those of us who don't?
It's like things that you're mad at. That you're
and you keep a list. It's like
you keep a list, yeah. It's like a priority list. And the rules are like all the things that are near, like, so there's this like hierarchy of things you're mad at. And so like the thing you'd be most mad at is that if some other player character attacked another player character that was on your team, and that player character like made a call for help, that would be, you'd be most mad at, and you'd be least mad at a enemy character who was just standing next to you. Like you'd prefer to be fighting a minion that was standing next to you.
And lowest is like a placeholder. I'm not really mad.
Yeah, lowest is I think this was just to like make the sorting algorithm work, so it had like a bottom out. And this has been fun. So this is my current kick at the moment. I actually haven't had much fun coding time at all because work's been kind of busy. But it's just been fun to like learn about C#, which I somehow skipped, in my programming journey.
What is I equatable? Does that mean it's like
this like
lets you do operator equals? I see.
Between things. So
I see, but it looks like the operator equals considers the enemy and the ally, but ignores the priority. I see, because the priority is a computed value.
Correct. So you don't actually need to.
That makes sense.
Get it.
Compute priority. Oh, I see. And these are the rules for computing the priority. If there's an ally involved, then it really matters about the championship, non-championship.
One.
Yeah. So I think the idea here is we want to try to figure out. We know that Unity has a unit testing framework built on C#'s unit testing. And so I think the idea is we want to try to figure out how to integrate it into this project, and then see if we can start testing this class, because I think Eric suspects that the bug is somewhere in this class.
Yeah, I mean, there's many lessons to take from this. One of which is that you should do changes in small increments. Because if we went and looked at my like Git diff, I actually got quite a large Git diff from when I last committed, and I could probably maybe detangle it, but again, it's not really the like. The next steps here are like to write unit testing, or to like make the thing more debuggable, like add debuggableness into the game. And none of those I just had like an easy path to, and so I sort of got stumped. And again, I just haven't had a lot of time to futz with this.
Well, let's try adding unit testing to it. Like I'm not sure. I never did unit testing in C#. Is this like can we try to test this class in isolation?
So my understanding is there are two ways. One is like there's a C# unit testing, and the other is there's Unity unit testing. And I don't actually know which we should use. I
mean, in other systems, it's been dependent on like how integrated this class is with Unity. Like, does it make sense to execute this code outside the context of Unity, just in like a C# kind of environment?
I think this class is basically outside of Unity. Like, it's hard to see with like this isn't used and this isn't used. The only thing we use is assertions. They're just
and the collections. Yeah, so maybe we should try just regular C# unit testing to start with.
The thing we probably, this may not actually be, so like this is probably a class that has some dependencies. And so we might have to add an interface, but maybe that's something to do too. Yeah, so I don't know how to do that. Do you have any idea?
No, I mean, when I'm faced with a problem like this, I would just start with Google and say, how do I do C# unit testing in Unity, and see
C#.
See what random Stack Overflow article I take advice from.
Speaking of which, I type C3 all the time instead of C#. And I don't understand why that isn't an alias. Do like others not make that same? Oh, okay.
Oh, it's smart. It knows.
Maybe it's just figured it out for me. I'm terrible at typing. So here's the unit testing manual for Unity, which I remember looking at it and feeling was kind of sparse.
Okay, this is...
both edit mode and play mode. So this is like, this feels to me more like an integration test.
Oh, it says, I see, Unity test framework. Okay.
Or
do you want to try this? This looks like it said like we could install a package that was the test package or something.
Yes, I think we have that. So okay, let's go here. We have a giant ball of imps or whatever they're called.
They've all collected there, and
they've all collected there,
being pacifists.
If we turn this off, we should. Let's see. We go to the package manager. I'm slowly learning my way around Unity. Test framework. Looks like we already have it.
Great.
Okay. We can see if we have any tests. Like maybe there are some tests. Let's see if we search for tests. Do we get anything?
So we're testing host.
This looks like a test. Oh, it's an asset. Okay. Server. Oh, testing hotkey. Okay, that's just for doing things.
I would go back and look at that tutorial page and see what the next step. Like I imagine there's a tutorial like add.
So we've done this.
Okay. Read the manual. All right, fun. Getting started. Create a new test assembly. That sounds like a good time.
Okay. General test runner. Okay. Create a new test assembly. Play mode and edit mode test need to be separate assemblies. Okay. I don't fully understand the difference.
Can you go back one? I'm just curious. There was a thing called create a new test, but you think we needed to have an assembly in which to run the test?
Create your test assembly folder and then select it in the project window.
Okay.
Click the button create test script.
Okay, so maybe we should just start with that. So in the assets directory, we can make this test directory and try to go from there.
Well, I think we have to do create your test assembly folder. We have to create a test assembly first.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, so that's this under general test runner. All right, so here are our tests. Here are our play mode tests.
Okay.
Which
do you think we want to make a play mode
packages?
I imagine we want to make a play mode test, right? Because we want to test the gameplay aspects as opposed to the editor aspects. Like in Unity, sometimes you write code that extends the editor, and sometimes you write code that extends the gameplay experience.
Oh, okay. This looks like there are some tests.
Okay.
So let's see what this does. Oh, maybe that ran it.
It passes. That's a good sign.
Open source code. Show me the source. Yeah, so we may not at all be successful tonight. We're going spelunking.
That's true of all these episodes. We do it live because this, like, the point is just to show what this experience is like. And
Yeah, there's no secret sauce, even when you've been doing this for as many years as we have.
So you clicked open source code, but I didn't see the source code appear anywhere.
I failed
it
to test source code in external editor, instance file name and yield return operator in target mode.
All right, sounds interesting. But maybe we can search in the project for these names.
Yeah.
Runtime example test. Or maybe we could find them.
Okay. So
Okay, that looks good.
Okay, so this should be straightforward. Oh, interesting. It doesn't even show up in assets. Maybe I didn't add it in. Because I had moved all the things under third-party Unity here. But it's as though like this is not added to the project.
Oh, interesting.
Because I don't see it here. We could open up the original and see if it's there, but
Can we double click that file in the other pane to?
Potentially, I don't really know my way. So I switched from Visual Studio Code to Visual Studio, and I don't really know my way around it. That's so weird. Well, here's some tests.
Is there a search function here? We can search for the name of the test there.
Yeah, like right
this
here.
looks good. This looks good.
So, yeah, here we go.
All right.
Okay. This just looks like an empty test.
All right.
We just hack this up.
Okay. So you want to try to add a test that tests maybe the priority comparison function?
Like what happens? So like I don't think.
Well, look, there's test and Unity test. A Unity test behaves like a coroutine in play mode, allowing you to, I see, like interact with the game loop. Oh, that's neat.
I see. You yield null to go to the next frame.
Mm-hmm.
Use the assert class to test conditions. Okay.
So why don't we start with just a basic test? Because it felt like at least the first thing we looked at in your program was just something that we could just test without integrating with the game loop.
Assert false.
Well, you put a value in. You can sure.
So that test should fail. We go back to
There's a test up there at the top. Like the third item on this list is test.
That I have no idea.
Doesn't quite seem right.
This I think is so as we've talked about before, the Unity editor is like highly configurable. I think this comes from the networking package as like a way to poorly named, but I think that's adding. So I think this is the one that's like added by core Unity. Oops, that is the wrong one. Yeah, so it's launching in this edit mode, and I think I find it confusing. The darker one is selected, but this should be the one. And this should fail. It should show red.
Oh.
Okay. Scene not found. No idea what that means.
Okay.
But let's see what the console says. Argument. Unity scene manager, editor scene manager, open scene. Oh, you know what that might be?
So look, there was a scene that contained these tests somehow?
Maybe. It may. Oh, that may also have been from me previously clicking on the editor test. That caused that?
Because it did pass before we did this.
It may also be.
This text here looks a little bit more like what we were expecting.
Yeah.
Runtime, like expected false was true.
This also maybe there's some shenanigans that this project does, which I think many projects in Unity do to control what the play button does. And it does some like wild stuff where it hooks in and is like, no, you think you're running, let me swap out your scene from underneath you. And I think actually in this year's version of Unity, I've gone looking around and I think they have some of those controls now in the preferences. I feel like
You
I've
don't have to
seen this
hack
in
around
other,
the play button.
yeah, I feel like I see this in other ecosystems where like somebody develops a like quirky hack that then like everybody uses, and then like the core system, 3 years later, finally integrates it. And I
I
think
mean,
that's
this is the whole like pave the cow path philosophy, where you basically watch the users, see what they do, and then make whatever they do more sensible.
All right, so let's see if we can. What was it even called? It was like AIStateEdgarList.
I think we can make a new function. Like we don't have to co-op this particular test.
So you want to make a new test?
Yeah, I don't want to make a new test file. That sounds dangerous. But just making a new function in here that has the test attribute.
Okay. Bold. Public void AIStateEdgarList test. And then I don't know how to get. It's like Unity dot.
Are you trying to find your file?
Yeah. Yeah, we have to.
You probably should be able to copy and paste it from your other file.
This will have it. One of these. This thing.
The namespaces are out of control.
It is a little out of control. And then the other thing is, are we going to be building into the right target? Because the way that and this again was my frustration and why I'm on my 5th iteration of this is that as lovely as the example is, what I think they did was they outsourced some company that knows how to make games, and they made a game, and the game is beautiful. But that doesn't necessarily mean just because somebody made a great demo that it's great example code.
Because it's like it's not structured in a way that's easy to extend or manipulate.
No, or layered or tear apart or anything. And so again, I've made like basically 5 attempts at like tearing it apart. I have no idea how anyone. I mean, somebody clearly with more Unity experience than I maybe got further faster. But I just don't think they've gotten to that part of the building.
We had a similar problem. We were working on samples for Fuchsia, where like the samples would do things like the super simple way, but then there was no way to go forward from that design point. So you end up having to make the samples a little bit more complicated than they would be otherwise, because that gives people the hooks to then build off of. The like default project in Flutter is also like that, right? It has this button that increments a number. And the reason it has that is like not because it's the simplest template project we could give you, it's because it shows you how to go from there. Like you have the pieces to copy and paste to make something.
We're actually been working. I don't know that the team has been replacing the like counter example, but adding more examples, because we see a lot of trouble actually with people making the leap from the counter working and maybe some small demo thing to like Firebase wired up or ads wired up, or just like these things that are on the golden path, and like we just needed to pave a little further.
Yeah, I could totally see that being useful. Just like give me an empty template project that has Firebase integrated, and then I can go to town.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna have a problem of that we're in the wrong solution.
Okay.
And so this namespace doesn't exist here.
All right. How do we there must be some way of importing it, or do we need to create the tests in a different solution?
My guess is that this is in the wrong solution. I don't know what. See here how it's split out into like.
Yep.
And I don't know enough about Visual Studio Solutions to know. Like maybe we can make this one depend on. Like this should just depend on, right?
We could also just follow what the manual is telling us, which was that the first step was to create an assembly. So if an assembly is a thing you can put inside a solution.
I think I just did it.
Oh. Well then, in that case.
Show me. Come on.
It's still underlined in red, but maybe you have to build it the first time for it to notice the change.
But you saw what I did, right? Like
No.
Oh, I right-clicked on this thing.
Yep.
And I said build dependencies.
Uh-huh.
And I clicked the checkbox.
I mean, that looks legit.
It totally looks legit.
Why don't we try it? Like maybe the red underline doesn't.
Like what happens if I build solution?
Oh, it's bad.
Oh, this is fascinating. That's giving me like, whoa, there's all these like, I have no idea what all these do, but like, that's interesting. Again, I recently switched from Visual Studio Code, which I think doesn't have as good Unity integration, to Visual Studio, which I'm totally new to. Okay, so we still didn't quite do it. So we can try the new. We can try the new route. This. So there was a button here, I believe.
I think
go.
I think we look at the documentation will tell us what to do.
Okay, we're supposed to have a create button here.
Okay.
I don't see one. This is another problem with Unity, is that their documentation is often, the last version or 2 versions ago.
It's also possible you only need to create once and it's already been created.
It's possible. I wonder if this runtime test DLL is like, but like clearly there are these sub.
This looks like a test runner. Can you go back? Is the thing where you create with the create button also the test runner? Or is it, oh, it is test runner. You set up test assembly. Okay. All right.
Test folder. Oh, there's an assembly def file. I bet this is really tiny. And I bet we could like just make our own if we needed to. Whoa. Okay. I see.
I never understood in .NET what was the relationship between an assembly and a DLL? I wasn't sure if I could never quite sort that out in .NET world.
Well, let's see. What if we look at our, like, how do I see this like open containing folder? I don't know what the .meta is, but what happens if I do this? Okay.
Not much to it.
So we could create this if we wanted to. But again, there's like a solution here.
Can I ask a really dumb question?
Please.
So if you go back to the source code for the test.
I wonder if, 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I need to add shared or utilities.
I'll just click them all. What's the worst that could happen?
And if that would, like, I don't know what importing the namespaces do. Like, just because it builds on that doesn't necessarily mean that. Anyways, you were saying, you had a question.
Do you see how there's this test attribute?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what happens if you just add, in your other source file, if you just add a method with the test attribute.
Good question.
You may need to import the unit testing, like the NUnit.
Like NUnit framework thing.
Mm-hmm. But I just wonder if that'll be enough to detect it as a test.
I have to find, what is it called?
That's sort of like, that's how things work in Rust, right? There's a test attribute that you add to things.
Aggro, right? Aggro.
AIStateEdgarList or something?
Yeah, AIStateEdgarList, this thing. Okay. So you say, like, what happens if we do that? And we need to like import NUnit using whoa, I don't know what NUnit. Okay. Give me an example. Show me the money.
This is where we were before.
Yep. What's going on here? Additional tests? Any platform?
Wait, in the project window, select assets, create a new assembly. I'm just reading under create additional tests because that's kind of what we want to do.
Assets, create testing C# test script.
Oh, okay, let's try that.
I have no idea what that will do. So this doesn't seem to work.
No, this was the dream.
I think we're still stuck at this difficulty again because they sort of made a slightly more complicated project. It's like split into these solutions, and we don't know how to import the right ones. Like that's where I think we're stuck. Does that?
I would just try to follow the examples from the thing where it said create new whatever it was, assets, create test assembly. I think it will be in Unity though, rather than in Visual Studio.
Okay.
It's also confusing because there are these two different tools that we're using. There's like the Unity tool and the Visual Studio tool, and it's, at least as a novice to this, it's relatively unclear which tool is responsible for what.
I have no idea what that is. Okay, so let's go back to this, and we'll just do create, testing, test assembly folder. Great, sold.
Okay.
Will not be compiled because it has no scripts associated. Fine. Let's do create.
What does it say?
What?
Oh, C# test scripts. Great.
Okay, and we're going to call this one AIStateEdgarList test.
Okay.
Okay, so let's open this. Discard. Maybe we never saved our solution. Maybe that was our problem in life. Like, I wonder if I look at the build dependencies here. Yeah, they're all gone again. So maybe the solution never got saved.
Oh, do you want to try that?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
So
I think we created a new one. Why don't we use this one?
Well, let's see what happens if we try. All right, so we're in this aggro. Yeah, I see. So this is the exact same thing. Okay, that's not the one we want. We want this is engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, so we reproduce the same problem in a new assembly, which is great.
All right, so I just don't know if adding build dependencies.
I think it's worth a try. Like the fact that we learned that the solution wasn't saved or whatever. So how do we save the solution? I would go to like File, Save All, or like something like that. Save it all.
Okay.
I don't know. That all includes the solution.
All right.
It's crazy to me that build solution wouldn't save or wouldn't tell you that your solution was dirty. But I agree with you. The checkbox disappeared. And so we somehow, I think we need to make these checkboxes. Try closing Visual Studio.
Well, I actually wonder if Visual Studio saved it properly and Unity just didn't like reload. Like Unity overwrote it for some reason.
Do you think we have to tell Unity about this?
This
is the confusion of having these two tools that are.
I feel like we have a very basic problem that we're not understanding, which is how do you add? Are you missing an assembly reference? What the hell is an assembly reference?
So maybe it's not maybe we need to add the reference in a different way. Is there like a light bulb that's like, oh, this is light bulb. Hi, light bulb. No, these are about removing things. I want to add things. Wait, we should Google how to add an assembly reference.
Huh? Add assembly reference. You're not the first person to have this problem. In Reference Manager.
Oh, obviously, that's how you would manage references, the reference manager. Okay, add a reference.
Right-click on
Solution
the
Explorer.
References and Dependencies node.
Okay.
Okay. Add project reference.
Oh, okay. Let's try that. So I saw this over there. See, there's this references thing. Can you expand the little triangle next to this? Okay.
What's an
This
analyzer?
looks. I'm not sure, but this looks like other things you depend on. Whoa. I don't think we want to add an analyzer. So what did it say to do next? We found the references thing. How do we make another one? Scroll up. I think it's
Right-click
okay.
on the references.
Either add project reference
On the project node from the flyout menu. I love that it's called a flyout menu.
By the way, like there's this whole school of thought like everything should just be text files. Like you have your .yaml file that specifies all your stuff or whatever. Like I find that easier because it just say like edit this file and put this thing here as opposed to like find this magic thing in the UI.
Oh, there's a whole like difference. My God, the YouTube spam is real tonight.
Yeah, I think we have the wrong tab. This is the Solution Explorer. They want us to find the
project. Oh, not that one. Project dependencies. Project tests. It depends on that.
Okay.
But where's the like assemblies?
Well, let's go back to the page. Like this page, I feel like has the solution for us. We just
agree.
have to read what it's saying the right way.
So this is the Solution Explorer.
That's the Solution Explorer. But does it want us to use the Solution Explorer? Oh, in the Solution Explorer.
This was last edited not too long ago. Okay, good.
Okay, we're in the Solution Explorer. Okay. Right-click on the References or Dependency node and choose Add Project Reference. So, all right, there that clearly says References.
I don't see a Dependencies node.
Oh, maybe can you scroll all the way down? I wonder if it's off the bottom. No. Okay.
I think we have like it's possible I have like a newer Visual Studio. What's this Unity Project Explorer? Oh, wild. Okay. Like I worried this is written for last year's Visual. Oh no, this is Visual Studio 2022.
But like when you right click on the references, I don't see add project reference, add shared project reference, or add com reference.
Nope. The Assemblies tab. Manage references in a project.
Okay.
References.
Add reference.
Yeah, like this is just totally different. It also, but this looks similar. Like this is Solution Explorer.
Uh-huh.
What does that mean? I have no idea what I just clicked. Oh. Okay. Like, I wonder if it's different for this one.
You can add an analyzer.
Yeah, I don't know what an analyzer is.
Whoa.
Oh, here's an add. No.
Nope.
Load. Sure. What did that do? Okay. Right? Good docs, people. That's the...
I don't think the problem is the docs. I think the problem is that it's trying to get you to drive a UI, and the UI that we see just does not match the picture that we're seeing here. And so there's...
Maybe we have a different kind of project?
Okay.
It's like, if you're UWP, you can do this thing. If you're
Why don't we search for managing references in Unity? Yeah.
Yeah, this is what it's doing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So how do we? They've
Yeah, this is
drawn
exactly what I did.
arrows. Okay. I love these arrows, but how do we add a new one?
Creating an assembly definition, references and dependencies. Yeah, this is what I want. References and dependencies.
Okay, click on that. References and
Right here.
dependencies.
We just had defining assemblies. You know, I feel like I'm learning a lot. Well, that's one of the. I don't know whether this is just or just I don't know, time in my old age or whatever. But so much of this is you come up to a cliff, and eventually you just have to scale the cliff, and then it's just time.
I've heard it described as the learning feeling. Oh wait, someone is trying to help us.
There's
actually.
Okay. Yes, I had heard that too, that you can actually do all this stuff from the terminal. I don't actually know how much that's compatible with Unity, but it may very well. It might.
Yeah, I don't doubt that there's text files, but it's a cultural thing. Like there's other systems have the culture of here's the file format. Let me tell you how to edit the file format. And this thing has a culture of here's this huge UI beast. Let me show you like where to poke it with the mouse.
But I think that's also a strength of Unity and possibly Visual Studio as well. Because I think you had said to me, I don't know what, that there's a large ratio of in game development, a large ratio of like designy people to codey people. And I felt in Godot has a big bias towards just everything is text. Like you can just go edit the Godot file. And
no, I definitely think that's true, especially since a lot of first-time programmers, like what they want to do is they want to make a game, right? Mm-hmm. And it's way more approachable if there's a graphical user interface that you can poke at to go explore and find everything. Whereas a text file can have any huge amount of depth beyond it that you would never find just by exploring.
What this is auto-referenced? Assembly definition.
Oh, create an assembly definition reference asset. So maybe we're supposed to use the asset system to do this?
Maybe, but you would think that in
the create, so we're here and here, like
you're saying, listening. But like I would think that this, like maybe there's a, like is this? Yeah. Like here's the assembly.
Oh, look, assembly definition references. Oh, go back, because there was a puzzle piece icon in the tests folder. Maybe we should click on it and see what Unity is telling us about it.
You gotta be kidding me.
I mean, maybe, like it's worth a try.
Well, so what I take away from this, I see.
References. But this is for the client. We want the other one, right?
Yeah, but that's fine. But we can edit. Okay. Okay, so this is huge progress, by the way. What's the optional Unity references? That's not.
Yeah, but we just want references. We want those.
Plain old references. I don't know what we're doing, but
we just copy and paste a lot. But you want to add server, right? This is just shared.
Yeah, I definitely don't need that one. I hope I don't want to use that one. And then the server.
Okay.
So did that do it?
Doesn't seem. Try building. Try. Okay.
Yes, I did modify it. Oh. Unity also has this. If you ever quit Unity with errors in your project, in your scripts, when you load it back up, it's like, whoa, dude, there's errors. Would you like me to launch in safe mode?
Well, it makes sense, right? If your code extends the editor and you leave it in a broken state, then you could lose the ability to edit the project that you're then defining the editor.
Yeah, I think it is that like editor overlap that caused it. Okay. I see no issues. I don't know whether it hasn't.
Yes, we didn't look at the CS proj file. This looked like the asmdef.
Oh no!
File.
What are we doing? We lost our NUnit.
Oh well, maybe we need to add NUnit to that list.
Well, I wonder if we move from the auto. So what's different from? Where are our tests here, by the way? We lost them.
Oh, are they in runtime tests?
Oh yeah, maybe. Nope. No. We somehow lost our little test solution. Like maybe we need to end up. Anyway, so here's our thing, and we could depend on NUnit. We could figure out what. I feel like we're fighting something.
We're clearly fighting something, right? Because we're both looking at it through the editor and through the text representation on disk. And we edited the text representation on disk. It was like, whoa there, you edited this thing outside of my purview.
And what's this thing? What's this optional Unity references? This is Microsoft documentation?
Microsoft knows about Unity?
No, I think this is some Microsoft using Unity. Although it would be wild if Microsoft has the...
Okay. Oh, this looks like exactly the Stack Overflow article we're looking at. Oh, here's a suggestion. We have a trailing comma, which might be throwing the whole thing off.
Take a breath, Eric. Take a breath.
It's a really good point. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yes. 10 points for Morse code. 10 points for Hufflepuff. Whoo!
Oh, we don't know that that's it.
No, we don't, but that could totally be.
It could totally be it.
And we're gonna have to pull out our We Love Computers. Oh, JSON parse error.
Oh, you saw a JSON parse error fly by?
Well, now Unity is thinking about something. Yeah, here we go. We're compiling C scripts. Busy. Maybe we remove the load-bearing comma.
The load-bearing comma. No, that comma was definitely bad. Like, there's no way that comma was legit.
I've written Dart for too many years. We accept you with or without your commas.
Oh man, I once worked on a project that had a bug where someone had edited a comment and that broke the project. It was a load-bearing comment.
Oh, I was telling you, this was in my earlier Unity explorations this week. I named a local variable event, which you
How dare you?
Not allowed to do in C#, because at least in Visual Studio Code, it will neither color the word event differently, nor compile anything after you have typed the word event.
Because Visual Studio Code doesn't know that event is a keyword or something? Like its syntax highlighter is off? Or...
The syntax highlighter does not seem to know that event is a keyword.
But the compiler knows.
But the compiler knows. But the compiler spits out ridiculous, unrelated errors when it encounters the event keyword. Okay, so
it just went from 0 to hero in one step. I agree. We've modified it outside the environment. How dare we? Oh, it came back. It was totally the comma Morse code. You were totally right.
What came back?
Yeah, in there. In your tester back.
You did it.
It's alive. It's alive.
You saved us. Okay, we still don't
have
it
doesn't have a squiggly underline. Oh, it doesn't like NUnit though. We totally need to add NUnit to our dependency list.
Well, but why? Like if we look at this one, I don't know how you like.
How do we go to the apparently strictly parsed JSON representation of it?
have no idea where that one
Are
is.
you back in Finder now, or not Finder, whatever, Explorer?
Yeah, we're in Explorer. Is Explorer still actually Internet Explorer, and like I can just type Google in it and it'll just magically morph into Bing or whatever? Or
I think they finally admitted that though they were different programs.
Did I just click through?
It's right there. It's already open in your editor.
What is?
If you go to it's the next tab over, runtime test that.
Oh, okay, you're right. Yeah. So this one doesn't.
Okay.
So I wonder if like putting explicit things here. I just don't know. We never got an answer for what the heck does this thing mean. Here we were working on this.
Okay.
What version? Try using the built-in test runner. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Include platforms. Okay. Okay. Optional. Exclude. Allow unsafe code. Okay. No, none of this. This is what I want.
Right. But it lost any access to any unit. Do we import it? Is the squiggly line on the import too? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my thought is that if we deleted this,
We'll try it. Like that's an easy experiment to run.
Oh, I wonder, is this comma bad? No.
No, that comma's good.
So I believe if we delete that, and now it eventually wakes up and tells us that you touched something.
Do you think it's polling the file system? Like, why isn't this instantaneous?
I have no idea. And like, if I hit build, what does build do?
It clearly has not noticed that you've edited this file. There's a reload button over there. Look, try the recycle sign.
Sync with active document? What's an active document?
I don't know. What's the next one? What's the next recycle sign?
Whoa, what did it do? Refresh. Okay. Refresh. Refresh doesn't do anything. Okay. This item does not support previewing.
I agree. This item does not support previewing.
Where we got this before was that I tabbed over to Unity, let it go out to lunch for 2 minutes.
Okay.
I think. Unity hasn't detected that we've...
Okay, then go back to Visual Studio. Maybe on like focus and blur, it'll go... Yeah, look. We're not making the show. Yeah, we're not making the show to make fun of any of these tools or anything like this.
No,
like,
no.
We're honestly trying to do this. Like,
I think if people watching this, the message I would take away is just, again, we have between us, 40 years or something of professional software development, and no, this is just how your day is. At least when you're starting something.
Well, but I think like I haven't spent a ton of time in like Microsoft.NET culture.
Oh, of course not. It does get easier when it's your 20th year on.
Yeah, we're struggling with basic concepts like what is an assembly, what is a solution. Like these are things that I think if I spent more time working with these tools or with this culture, then I would know more about them.
Exactly. Okay, so we're still in this weird state where we think that it's...
I think we should pull the eject cord like we were at 55 minutes into the show.
Oh, you're right,
we haven't even managed to write the first unit test. So.
We're going to declare failure.
So I when I took improv, they taught me that whenever something goes bad in improv, you should just say, again. And like somehow the arm motion is important. Like it like opens up your chest cavity and causes you to breathe in. Yeah, you just go like this, and you're like, all right, we'll try again.
I think that this 50 minutes of handholding, which I very much appreciate, and I appreciate others coming with us on this journey, has gotten me far enough that I think I can claw my way a little further in here, and I should have something to show next week.
I
C#
don't
way.
know whether we decided to do it the C# or the Unity way. We started following the directions on the Unity website, and we were using the Unity test runner package. So I think we were doing it the Unity way,
I
but I
mean,
don't know, to be honest.
if we have folks watching who want to talk with us about maybe coming on the show and teach us some Unity, I'm certainly open to that.
Oh yeah, I'd be super open to that.
You know how to reach us. Our tweets are open. Again, we're just having fun. As I said at the top of the show, the Unity is just, it was a thing I started playing with again after having played with Godot for a little bit a couple weeks ago, and I'm just having a blast exploring a different system. It's different from my day job. I've dropped some of my Rust balls on the floor, but I don't have to do Rust in my day job either.
Well, I think Unity is such an incredibly popular tool. It's used by so many people, and it's so different from the tools that I'm used to. And so I just feel like I learned so much just by even just beating my head against it.
Yeah.
To like try to figure out like, how do people use this thing? What do they like about it? Like why? How can I take those things and incorporate that back into the tools and systems that I work with?
Yeah. Like I don't know I don't even have the language. I don't have the vocab. But I think about it as being like aspects. I think aspect-oriented programming is like a very specific thing, so that's probably not the right word. But in Unity, you don't write a minion class. You instead write 18 little piece classes where it's like, this is the network health bar, and this is the AI brain, and this is the 7 states of the AI brain. And at least this example and other examples I've read push you towards writing all these tiny, tiny, tiny things and then like dragging and dropping them into your editor.
It's sort of the opposite of the Flutter paradigm, where you write lots of self-contained things that you wire together. This is you have like one object, which is like the character or whatever, and then you load in all these different pieces to it.
Yeah. And everything's a peer, which is another thing that's different from 2D. In 2D, there's this tree, and like the outermost widget is the sides of your screen, and everything gets smaller from there generally, right? In Unity, there's just all these random peers that appear and disappear and get loaded and unloaded, and effects that get started and destroyed. And
I always wonder if there's a way of doing 2D graphics or like user interfaces that's more like that, because it turns out to be really good for the drawing part of it, because you want to draw all these things in parallel, which means you want them all to be peers ultimately when you're feeding it to the GPU. Okay. And the hierarchy kind of gets in the way of that for modern graphic systems. Because the like UI design patterns are so focused on hierarchical containment, it's hard to know how to do that.
Well, and again, one of the downsides of at least this example, and I haven't spent enough time with other big Unity programs, is just a tangled ball of mess. Like again, maybe I'm missing the skills to understand it, and so I really shouldn't blame it. Maybe I blame me here. But I struggled, as you saw, with 5 separate attempts to detangle, just to try and pull out a piece and use it here. It's just all tangled up. And I've only really gotten to the server interaction side and the AI. I haven't even gotten to the animator side or the graphics effects side, which is probably half of the project. So, in other random non-news, I used to pick on you about pizza. I finally started the book. I think you bought me the book. I finally started the book.
The Pizza Bible.
The Pizza Bible.
The Pizza Bible is amazing. We're not sponsored or endorsed by them or anything, but it's an amazing book. So
I finally started the pizza. I finally, plunked down my money and bought some of the pieces, like a pizza peel. The
Pizza Bible has for those who don't know, has the 10 commandments of making pizza.
Maybe I haven't gotten far enough. I'm only in the first, enough pages to do the first recipe.
Oh, it's at the there's a lesson in the beginning, and when you get to the lesson, then the author bestows upon you the 10 commandments of making pizza.
Oh, well, I will have tried their pizza this weekend. We're gonna do our first pizza this weekend.
Well, you have to give us the report next week.
Yeah. Anyways, this was fun, even if we didn't actually get something working. And I hope to take what we've learned tonight and turn it into something working, hopefully by next week.
Yeah. See you all next week.
So, good night, all.